Now at 9, Joplin residents come together to help a church with different projects. Plus, the Miners Hall Museum invites the community to see how they're preserving their past. And there is a new headquarters for Crawford County Democrats.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Elise Noe. Authorities in Newton County yesterday arrested 2 people after a chase which resulted in a grass fire. It started around 7 p.m. yesterday south of Joplin. Authorities say they tried to stop a red pickup, but the pickup took off and police chased it for more than 20 minutes. Authorities were able to stop it with spike strips at Spurgeon and Gateway. The truck then drove a little further on its rims, which sparked and started a grass fire. The driver and a passenger were both arrested on outstanding warrants. The pickup was reported stolen out of Tulsa. The Grand River Dam Authority says a man died yesterday after a boating incident. Authorities say it happened in the Duck Creek area of Grand Lake. They say 47-year-old Daniel Siebert fell off of his boat before being hit by another boat. Siebert did not resurface. The GRDA recovered his body around 7:30 this morning. 8 people were injured when a boat crashed at Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri. The Missouri State Highway Patrol say the crash happened just before midnight Saturday. The boat ended up running aground and into a house, causing it to flip and eject all 8 people aboard. The driver and passenger were all adults. 6 sustained injuries, serious injuries, and 2 had moderate injuries. The driver of the boat was arrested for boating while intoxicated. Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us for a first look at weather.
All right, thank you very much, Elise. It's been a beautiful day to be out on the lakes across the area. A few showers way up to the north and north central Missouri right now, but those are starting to dissipate just a little bit. As we see temperatures dropping through the 70s tonight, dropping all the way down to about 70 degrees by tomorrow morning under mostly fair skies. Tomorrow, the UV index is going to be very high once again, 10 on the scale, which is about 15 to 20 minutes of burn time. So make sure you have the hat, sunglasses, sunscreen, and of course limit your shade and time outside. And if we look down the lane, we have some isolated morning showers possible on Wednesday. But notice the building heat dome back in our forecast, and that means the drought is going to be worsening as well. And of course, I'll have all the details on that in your forecast in just a little bit.
Thanks, Sam. We'll see you soon. Well, Crawford County Democrats now have a new HQ. Community members gathered today to celebrate and perform a ribbon-cutting ceremony in honor of this new facility. This space will make it easier for community members to get in touch with the local Democratic officials and candidates for local offices. All of the funds to provide this space were donated by members of the community. One church in Joplin, Missouri is making some home improvements. The church's congregation got together today to tackle all the projects, including vacuuming and shampooing all the carpets and chairs, building some new playground equipment, and landscaping.
I also love today because it's an opportunity for folks to be in fellowship, folks to meet one another, folks to feel like they have an opportunity to kind of just invest and buy in, because we all want to feel like we're part of something, and today's one of those days where you really could do that.
The workday began just after service this morning and went on into the afternoon. The Miners Hall Museum in Franklin, Kansas invites community members out to experience their newest exhibit, Preserving the Past. The museum brings attention to the history and heritage that comes from mining camps in the 4-state region in the early 1900s. The museum is hosting a special program today to showcase the work that went into restoring the miners' house, which is displayed just behind the museum.
Well, we hope to educate all walks of people, but children more than anyone. You know, I'm an educator too, and it would be great to see our students out here along with their parents and the community members and seeing what life was like back in 1908, 1910.
For anyone interested in visiting the museum, it is open Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. There's more destruction in the Ukrainian city of Odessa, killing at least one person and reducing a historical site to rubble. Fox News correspondent Trey Inkst has the details.
The Kremlin launching over a dozen missiles, killing at least one person and injuring over 20 others, according to Ukrainian officials. This is the latest in a string of attacks on the critical exporting region after Russia backed out of a major grain deal earlier this week. Among the ruins, this historic cathedral in the Ukrainian city of Odessa.
This is our Ukrainian heritage, and now it has been taken away from us. I have tears in my eyes. I cry all day. It's not fair. I don't understand why they are like this with us.
Despite Sunday morning service goers being in shock following the attack, volunteers came together to parse through the damage.
This strike could have hit the homes of these people, but God had it redirected at his temple. There's so many people here, and they're all united. I have been visiting the church for 27 years, and I have never seen so many people.
And a very different scene at a cathedral in Russia. Russian President Vladimir Putin and Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko meeting with supporters after the allied leaders held talks on Sunday. The two saying that Ukraine's counteroffensive has failed and foreign mercenaries sent to Ukraine would be fighting in vain.
In any case, the general public of the countries whose governments sent people to the combat zone today should also know what is happening there, and we will bring this to the attention of the people so that they evaluate the actions of their authorities.
Lukashenko adding that Wagner troops that are supposed to be in Belarus following their brief mutiny attempt wanted to go on an excursion to Poland. In Jerusalem, Trey Inkst, Fox News.
Coming up, black market sales of marijuana in Oklahoma are being traced back to China. U.S. government officials say Chinese criminal organizations are behind the establishment of Oklahoma as a major exporter of black market marijuana. They say the majority of illegal pot operations in this state can be traced back to China. Fox News senior correspondent Casey Stiegel has the details.
Oklahoma officials say they've got a pot problem after voters green-lighted the drug for medicinal use back in 2018.
What we have seen is over the last couple years, since it's been legalized, that we have seen is a lot of foreign nationals come in.
More specifically, agents with the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics tells Fox nearly 2/3 of the state's illegal grow operations now have at least some tie to China.
They just happen to be stockpiling a lot of U.S. currency, moving high-grade marijuana.
Just this week, officials raided an Oklahoma City warehouse along with a semi-truck that was leaving. Inside, nearly $28 million worth of black market dope, disguised as shiitake mushrooms. It was bound for the Big Apple.
They can grow for as cheap as $100 a pound and then get as much as $4,000 a pound or higher once it gets to New York.
Authorities made a similar bust back in April. Another 7,000 pounds loaded up for transport and distribution. That time, the $28 million worth of weed was labeled as camera equipment.
They're coming and going oftentimes multiple times a day. So this is just one. This is not like the mother lode.
It has gotten so bad, anecdotally, Oklahoma is now the largest exporter of marijuana to the entire homeland, supplying at least 47 other states. Agents say they're working hard to disrupt these criminal organizations, both domestic and international.
We're also focusing on these distribution centers and these distribution hubs.
Police say voters did not set enough restrictions when legalizing the drug, so now they're going backwards to fix those issues. In Dallas, Casey Stiegel, Fox News.
In Washington state, an outbreak of listeria has left 3 people dead. 2 others fell ill. Health officials say all 5 of the infected people were older than 60 and developed a severe infection. They also had a compromised immune system. They say the cases occurred this year and the source of the listeria is still unknown. Listeria is commonly found in nature, especially in soil, groundwater, and vegetation. Eating contaminated food is usually what leads to the infection. A new survey of more than 1,200 older Americans found that very few senior citizens are being screened for dementia. The University of Michigan's national poll on healthy aging says Most older adults think screening for dementia is a good idea, but few actually follow through and get tested. The survey found only about 20% of people ages 65 to 80 have had a screening test in the past year to see if their memory and thinking abilities have begun to decline. Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us next for a complete look at the forecast. And later, nutritionists give their advice on healthy eating during vacation.
Well, folks, we had lots of sun for your Sunday, and that allowed temperatures to rise into the lower 90s across most of the area, including Seneca, Missouri, where it's a beautiful evening right now at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Mostly fair skies across the entire area, just a few mid-level clouds out towards the west with some decaying showers. This afternoon, we made it up to 93 in Joplin, which was a hair above the normals. The low was right on target at 70 degrees. Of course, we're way behind on the month for the rain as well as the year, about 10 1/3 inches behind on the rainfall. And that's not counting last year, and we'll talk about that in a moment. You can see on radar right now is all clear across the area, maybe a shower over there in Montgomery County, and that's about it. Other showers up towards the north and east, south and west of Columbia, over towards Sedalia, down towards Osage Beach right now, but that is starting to fall apart a little bit as well. The drought situation has been very severe, of course, across Kansas. There has been improvement out towards the west, but in our area, in our neck of the woods, it's still hanging on in Elk and Chautauqua counties especially, and also expanding in central Missouri across the area as far as the drought goes. Everywhere in our region is pretty much dry at this point. And in Joplin right now, you can see the deficit. If you go all the way back to January 1 of 2022, we're about 13 inches behind where we're supposed to be, but that's nothing compared to Sedan, Kansas, where the deficit is close to 20 inches below where they are supposed to be. So the drought is certainly continuing and only getting worse the more days we have with no precipitation, including the next 24 to 36 hours. Rain chances are going to be on the low side. And in fact, looking at the precipitation total forecast, any precipitation that does occur will be very light and will be on the eastern sides of our viewing area. So maybe they'll get a little bit, but most of us are going to be on the dry side as this ridge of high pressure is going to be building in as we go through the middle part of the week. And so the storm track is going to be up towards the north as those pieces of energy rotate by. That's where the best chances of showers and storms are going to be. So tonight, mostly fair with lows in the 70s and upper 60s. Then tomorrow, maybe some showers up towards the north and east. Temperatures rising into the mid to upper 90s. And then as we go into Monday night into Tuesday morning, warm lows with lows in the mid 70s, showers to the east. And then Tuesday afternoon, we're probably going to touch around 100 here in Joplin. Everywhere else in the upper 90s, low 100s possible. And then on Wednesday morning, starting off with southwesterly winds and mild temperatures, lows in the mid 70s. Over the next 7 days, it's going to get hot. 100 on Tuesday, 101 on Wednesday, 99 on Thursday, 100 on Friday. You kind of get the idea. And then as we go into next weekend, maybe a little bit cooler as we get some showers in here early next week. So a hot forecast to say the least.
A hot forecast indeed. And you know what? I'm glad we don't have any hailstorms.
That's right.
We are fortunate enough over here. Well, one man in Kansas says that he's lucky to be alive after getting caught in the middle of a brutal storm in western Kansas. Reporter Dan Hutton has the story.
The windshield almost caved completely in.
These are photos from the inside of Dan Hutton's car when the hailstorm rolled through the Garden City area. You can see glass all over his car. At first, he thought it would just be a normal drive from Garden City to Scott City.
I left work and I could see the thunder cell, but I thought, well, you know, having grown up in western Kansas, I didn't think that it was anything to be too concerned about.
As he drove on Highway 83, the road conditions got worse.
I couldn't even see that far. I couldn't even see to the end of my car. It was not an experience that I want to ever have again.
He said while he was inside the car, all he could do was hope the windshield didn't shatter on him.
It was probably a good 10 minutes of, you know, just sitting there writing out the storm and saying some prayers and just waiting to see what happened.
Hutton says his car, which he believes is a total loss, can be replaced. He's just glad he's okay.
Got out and brushed all the glass as best I could out of my hair and off my face and and clothes and stuff, but I have shards of glass that I can still feel in my arms that I'll probably be digging out for a few days.
And it wasn't just cars that were damaged. Look at this photo of a cornfield north of Garden City. The co-op says one of his surveyors says the crop damage is the worst he's ever seen, covering an area stretching more than 250,000 acres.
Still ahead, how to stay healthy during vacation. And a UPS strike is underway in the U.S. Well, if you're on vacation or planning a trip, nutrition experts have some suggestions that will help you eat well. Vacations are a time to kick back and relax, and vacationers can often indulge in foods. Nutritionists weigh in on tips if you're trying to stick to a health goal. They say to avoid big buffets and excessive portion sizes, and instead go for foods that might be better in quality and less in quantity. And they advise to drink lots of water and do calorie burning activities. And for those of you not looking to stick to a health goal this summer, you can head over to Sonic, where it's created a celebrity drink menu inspired by music artists. JP Sachs, Kelsey Ballerini, Metro Boomin, and Lainey Wilson all have their own drink curated to them. A mango slush with Nerds candy and a lemonade with strawberries and vanilla are just some of the new options fans can now choose to buy. A looming UPS nationwide strike is underway. His deal is not reached by July 31st. Shelly Malachi has the latest.
We've organized, we've strategized, now it's time to pulverize.
Over the weekend, Teamsters Union General President and members speaking out at a rally in Atlanta ahead of a looming UPS strike vote. It comes after the two sides failed to reach a deal over workers' pay and benefits. If UPS workers walk off the job, the effect will be historic, the largest strike at a single company in American history. A way to stop concerned UPS customers from going to rival delivery services.
We do not get a deal. UPS has chose to strike themselves, and we will withhold our labor July 31st at 12:01 a.m. But if we get a tentative agreement subject to ratification and we're going to recommend it, then we will not withhold our labor.
On Wednesday, UPS released a statement saying in part, we are prepared to increase our industry-leading pay and benefits, but need to work quickly to finalize a fair deal that provides certainty for our customers, our employees, and businesses across the country. On Saturday, O'Brien said 95% of the contract has been negotiated, adding that UPS knows they need to pay their members, including the part-timers.
The packages don't move unless we move them. The stuff doesn't go anywhere unless we move it.
According to a Teamsters spokesperson, negotiators from the two sides will meet up on Tuesday in Washington. I'm Shelly Malachi reporting.
Up next, a special graduation for deaf students. Gallaudet University is the largest university for deaf students in the country. Back in the 1950s, the Kendall School operated on the Gallaudet campus. The school established a division for Black deaf students after it was initially segregated. The students never received their diplomas until this weekend, when the university held a graduation ceremony for 23 Black students and 4 Black teachers. It comes 70 years after they earned the right to graduate. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Coming up, the Biden administration is making changes to water heaters. Tens of thousands of people taking to the streets protesting in Jerusalem against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's proposed judicial overhaul. Fox News correspondent Trey Yingst has the story.
That's right, thousands of Israelis gathered in the streets of Jerusalem tonight to protest against proposed judicial reforms. A final vote on the first major change to the Israeli judicial system is set to take place tomorrow afternoon. The bill focuses on the reasonableness clause that gives the Supreme Court here the ability to overrule a parliament vote. If the bill passes, part of that system of checks and balances will be altered. Protesters have gathered for 29 straight weeks to voice concern over the changes put forward by Israel's far-right government led by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Netanyahu is currently in the hospital near Tel Aviv after needing a pacemaker for a previously unknown heart condition. The Israeli leader says he'll be at the vote tomorrow afternoon, despite ongoing efforts to reach a last-minute consensus with the opposition. Pressure has increased in recent days on the ruling Likud party as those opposed to the judicial changes exert leverage on the government. More than 10,000 Army and 1,000 Air Force reservists announced they'll suspend their voluntary service if the bill passes. Some of those soldiers joined the nearly 100,000 Israelis who participated in a march from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem over the weekend. There is an air of uncertainty tonight across Israel. There is a deep divide in Israeli society over these proposed reforms that is expected to get worse. In Jerusalem, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us for another look at first weather.
All right, thank you very much, Elise. It's been a beautiful day across the area, a little bit on the warm side, but that's typical for July. And we're looking at some showers way up towards the north in northern Missouri, but those are starting to dissipate as well. As we go through the overnight hours, we're going to see temperatures dropping through the 70s to about 70 degrees by tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow, the UV index is going to be on the high side, in fact, very high. 10, which means about 15 to 20 minutes of burn time, so make sure you're taking the proper precautions. And looking down the lane, we do have some isolated Wednesday morning showers possible, but the building heat dome is going to be the story this week, as well as the worsening drought. And of course, I'll tell you more all about that in just a little bit.
Thanks, Sam. Well, the Department of Energy has unveiled new regulatory proposals aimed at home water heaters to help speed up the use of electric heat pump water heaters. It's estimated that the regulations would go into effect in 2029 and would greatly reduce carbon emissions by over 3 decades. The DOE also says Americans would save about $198 billion. While adding to its barrage of missile launches in recent months, North Korea remained publicly silent on the fate of an American soldier who bolted into the north across the heavily armed Korean border this week. Fox News correspondent Kitty Logan has more on the story.
North Korea has again test-fired several cruise missiles into the sea. This is the second test this week as tensions continue to rise in the region. South Korean authorities say the missiles were launched at around 4 in the morning local time, and on Wednesday, North Korea fired 2 other short-range ballistic missiles from close to the capital Pyongyang, adding to multiple missile launches in recent months, and a total of around 100 missile tests since the start of 2022. The launches this week were apparently in protest after a US nuclear submarine docked in South Korea. It's the first such visit since the 1980s. And in highly charged rhetoric, North Korea's defense minister has suggested this may be grounds for a nuclear attack by the North. But South Korea has called the presence of the sub a defensive response measure. North Korea often reacts with anger when the US and South Korea conduct joint military exercises, and these have increased in recent times as a show of force against Pyongyang. Also, North Korea has still not made any public comment 5 days after an American soldier, Travis King, ran across the border towards the north. It's not clear where he's being kept or what condition he's in, but US officials say they're worried about his well-being. There are concerns that North Korea may use this US soldier as a bargaining chip to try to persuade the US military to reduce its presence in the region. In London, Kitty Logan, Fox News.
Still ahead, meteorologist Sam Lane joins us for another look at weather. And extreme heat continues to affect the country.
Well, we've had lots of sunshine across the area, and of course that led to temperatures in the lower 90s, but that's actually kind of normal for this time of year. Let's take a look outside at Seneca, Missouri this morning, and as that goes into motion, you can see that we had mostly fair skies all day long, maybe a cloud or two here or there, but that's been about it. It's mainly been mostly fair all afternoon long, and that allowed temperatures to really warm up into the lower 90s, but 93, not too bad, which was a couple of degrees above the normals. We were right on target for the low, though. What we're not normal about is the rainfall. 1.85 so far for the month and about 10 1/3 inches for the year. That's not counting last year where we were already in a drought. So the drought just gets worse, and radar right now is pretty much all clear. A lot of this is just ground clutter and moisture in the air. And we did have a shower earlier near Coffeyville, but that has now moved into northern Nodawata County, maybe just a sprinkle, and that's about it. Other sprinkles up to the north and around the Osage Beach area, and a thunder shower just north and east of Columbia. The drought has been bad, not only here in our area, but across all of the state of Kansas, most of Nebraska, and now starting to affect Missouri as well, in central parts of Missouri especially. And you can see the extreme and exceptional drought in Chautauqua and Elk counties in our westernmost viewing area. The only place that we do not see any really drought problems right now is southern Delaware County, and that's about it. Everyone else is dry. To show you just how bad it is, let's take a look at Sedan, Kansas. They have only had 45.66 inches. They're normally supposed to have 65 1/4, which is about 20 inches below where they're supposed to be. So the drought is extremely severe, especially across southeastern Kansas. And you can see on the rainfall chances, it's going to be low over the next 36 hours, and rainfall amounts are just not going to be there. Just a few sprinkles, mainly in the eastern sections if there are any showers tomorrow, with very light rainfall amounts. And that's all because we have this ridge of high pressure that is going to be building towards us over the next few days. And that dome of high pressure is going to bring back the temperatures close to 100 degrees, and the storm track is going to stay to the north, and that means the rain chances are going to stay there as well. Maybe a sprinkle or two here or there, but that's about it. Tonight, mostly fair with lows in the 70s and upper 60s. Then tomorrow, best chance of showers up to the north and east with highs in the mid to upper 90s. And then as we go into Tuesday morning, mild once again with lows in the mid 70s, isolated sprinkles to the east. And then Tuesday afternoon, pretty hot. Temperatures right around 100 degrees. And then Wednesday morning, we're going to see lows in the mid 70s with southwesterly winds. And the heat just continues right on through the rest of the forecast. Showers maybe on Wednesday morning, a high of 101 on Wednesday afternoon. We stay close to 100 degrees all the way till next weekend, and then maybe a little bit cooler as we go into early part of next week with a little bit more chance of showers, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But we're going to be in a dry spell for a while.
Well, sounds like it. It's certainly a hot summer,
It's so
isn't
far.
it?
Yes, it is.
Well, unrelenting heat continues to scorch much of the country with at least 100 million Americans under alert. It's fueling wildfires and even forcing airlines to make operational changes. Bradley Blackburn has more.
An intense heat dome is fueling flames across the West and making it difficult to fight them. In Washington state, wildfire burned more than 30,000 acres in less than 24 hours.
We are under a red flag warning. That's a firefighter's worst nightmare.
In San Jose, California, kids cooled off wherever they could, with temperatures well above normal.
It was hot in the house, so my mom said, let's come outside to get wet.
The heat froze travel in Palm Springs. Airline SkyWest confirming it had to cancel a flight to Denver Thursday due to high temperatures. In some cases, airlines are reducing baggage, fuel, and even passenger load to help aircraft operate. In Arizona, Phoenix continues to endure brutal temperatures. Saturday was its 23rd straight day above 110 degrees. It's driving emergency calls for overheating, where crews use ice and cold water to lower body temperatures.
We put some of our IVs on ice or cool our IVs so we can cool that internal temperature quicker for those individuals.
The heat wave is a global event. In Greece, it's the hottest weekend in 50 years, sparking wildfires that forced tourists to evacuate the island of Rhodes. Even the Acropolis in Athens was closed.
The heat is a little bit too much.
Too much in too many places as historic heat burns on.
Coming up in sports, Little League baseball teams from Pittsburgh and Webb City advance to the Midwest Regionals. Plus, the Joplin Outlaws finish their regular season at home tonight. We'll have the highlights coming up next in sports.
The Joplin Outlaws are officially Mink League South Division champions for the second straight season. But Joplin still has to play their regular season finale before they can focus on the postseason later this week. Outlaws at home tonight taking on the defending Mink League champion St. Joseph Mustangs. Landon Meyer on the mound for Joplin tonight as he gets the hitter looking in the first. Then he'll get another one in the second. Then again, a swing and a miss to end the second. Landon Meyer only pitches 2 innings but strikes out 5 of the 6 batters he faces. So bottom of the 4th inning now, 2-1 St. Joe. Cole Hill with a line drive to left field. Caden Bressler is rumbling and stumbling as he slides home safely. Hill advances a second. Joplin ties the game 2-2. Bottom of the 5th, Joplin down 3-2. Garrett Chun lines this ball to right field. Syracuse will score, and Chun gets in there at third for a triple. Outlaws tie the game once again 3-3. Next batter, Colton Reynolds gives the ball out to center field for a ride. Chun will tag and score easily. Joplin takes the lead 4-3. St. Joseph goes on to win the game 7-5, but the Outlaws will take tomorrow off as they await their opponent for the divisional playoff game on Tuesday. On Sunday afternoon, 2 local teams won their tournaments and advanced to the Little League Midwest Regionals. Now, they're one step away from the Little League World Series. Both Webb City and Pittsburgh won their state tournaments this week, and that means each team will travel to Indianapolis, Indiana for the Midwest Regionals. Pittsburgh will represent Team Kansas. They're scheduled to play on Friday, August 4th at 9 a.m. Central. After that game, Webb City, who's representing the state of Missouri, is scheduled to play on Friday, August 4th at noon Central. Webb City will play Wisconsin. If both teams win, they will go on to face each other in the quarterfinals with a shot to play at the Little League World Series. The Kansas City Royals are in the Big Apple this weekend trying to avoid being swept by the Yankees. Meanwhile, the Cardinals are trying to even things out with the Cubs. So Royals at Yankees in the Bronx, starting in the bottom of the 3rd, 4-0 Yankees. Anthony Rizzo hits this out the right field, solo home run. His first home run since May 20th. That snaps the longest drought in the MLB this season. Bronx Bombers lead it 5-0. Top of the 6th inning, 5-1 Yankees. Michael Massey, it is high, it is deep, it is gone. 2-run homer. Royals still trail 5-3. Top of the 7th now, same score. Nick Prado hits this deep into center field, but Harrison Bader is going to make a stellar catch out there against the wall. Yankees go on to beat the Royals 8-5. Cardinals versus Cubs in the Windy City. Bottom of the 1st, no score. Cody Bellinger goes deep to center field, and that ball is going to find the basket for a 2-run homer. 2-0 Cubs. So we head to the bottom of the 3rd inning, 4-0 Chicago. Yan Gomes hits this ball out to the Ivy wall. 2 runs are going to come to the score. It's a 2-run double for Yan Gomes. 6-0 Cubs. Next batter at the plate, Trey Mancini keeps this ball fair down the line. Gomes will round 3rd and score. Mancini is in there for an RBI double. All Cubs today in Wrigley Field. Chicago beats St. Louis 7-2. Sticking with baseball, former St. Louis Cardinal Scott Rowland was inducted to the Baseball Hall of Fame on Sunday in Cooperstown, New York. During his time with the Cardinals, Rowland was a 4-time All-Star and 3-time Gold Glove winner. He hit 316 home runs in his major league career. Rowland is now enshrined in baseball history forever.
What a day for baseball.
Absolutely. I mean, we've been talking a lot about baseball recently, but let me tell you, football season is coming up fast.
I'm excited. Well, we'll be right back. For Twitter users, it's almost time to say bye-bye birdie. The social media platform's CEO, Elon Musk, has announced he plans to drop the app's iconic bird logo in the near future. Fox News correspondent Christina Coleman has more.
We could be saying bye-bye birdie as soon as Monday. In a series of late-night tweets, Elon Musk says he's ready for yet another change at the social media company, tweeting, "And soon we shall bid adieu to the Twitter brand and gradually all the birds." And here's one possible look Musk wants to use, sending out this flashing neon X logo. Reaction so far seems mixed. X Corp is what Musk renamed Twitter earlier this year after buying the social media platform for $44 billion last year. He says he wants to create a super app like WeChat in China. He's also polling people about changing the default color on Twitter from blue to black, and about 75% so far are saying yes. It would be one of the many changes since Musk took over Twitter, including laying off 3/4 of its workforce to cut costs naming a new CEO and adding an $8 a month subscription service. This, of course, comes as Musk is competing with Mark Zuckerberg and Meta's new app Threads, a text-based version of Instagram. 100 million people signed up for that in the first 5 days of its launch. And on its website, Twitter says the Bluebird logo is its most recognizable asset, and that's why they're so protective of it. So we shall see if this iconic Bluebird does fly away. Reporting in Los Angeles, Christina Coleman, Fox News.
Up next, Popeyes has a new menu item after a TikTok trend goes viral. Popeyes has been inspired by a TikTok trend. The fast food chain has come up with its own version of the viral girl dinner. Girl dinner is essentially sides, snacks, and really anything you can find in your pantry brought together to create a girl dinner. Popeye's take on it is a variety of side dishes that have to be ordered individually, like mashed potatoes and biscuits.
That sounds delicious.
I know.
Is it just for girls?
You know, maybe. Can we just have one thing just for the girls one time?
Okay, all right, we'll make a deal. We're going to have some hot weather this week. Take a look at the forecast. You can see on Monday, 97, 100 on Tuesday, and there's several chances of 100-degree temperatures or close to it all week long with little chances of precipitation. And then in the long-range forecast, we're looking at a little bit cooler, mid-90s as we go towards next week.
Looking forward to it. Well, that's our time. Thanks for joining us. We'll leave you with a video of some cute canines getting treated to a day of pampering. We'll see you back here next time. Thanks for making us part of your night.